If you have heard about the term data warehousing, what do you mean by warehouse? Tell me. What do you mean by data warehouse or warehouse? Warehouse is like a collection of something, right? So if you have a warehouse in the sense, there you can store all the things, right? So if you are running a manufacturing company, you have stores, right? So it is similar to warehouse, right? So in the store, you keep all the objects or all the materials, all the things you keep on that place, right? That is store or warehouse, right? So data warehouse in the sense, right? Running a business, right? Just imagine, uh, you are the you are running a Cargill supermarket, right? So you are the owner of Cargill's, right? So if you look at the Cargill supermarket, they have branches in all over the country, different places, right? So data warehouse in the sense, right? You collect all the data for all the branches into a one place, right? You can structure some cubes, data cubes, right? So data cubes in the sense, uh, at a single place, you have all the different data sets, right? All the different data. If you look at the supermarket in Kalmuna, right? There you are collecting how many employees are there, what is the turnover, what is the demanded items, right? How many customers visit every day, right? So all the details about the supermarket, you have a record of that, right? Not only for one branch, you have different branches, right? For all the branch data set, you have in a single point, right? So that is data warehouse. So they don't think data warehouse is like a database, right? Database means if you look at the branches, each branch they have database, right? If you look at the Saindam Maradu Kalmuna branch, right? They are maintaining a database, right? Once you purchase everything, they will record in their relational database management system, right? Similarly, for each branches, they have separate uh, or integrated databases, right? So I'm not talking about the database, right? So data warehouse means that is totally different from the database, right? So database, just you can uh, enter the data to the database, just you can retrieve the data if you want, right? That is the functionality of database, right? But a case in data warehouse, right? So we are using data warehouse for decision making purposes, right? That is the uniqueness of data warehouse from database, right? So database we have only used for transactions process, right? I don't know whether you heard about the term OLTP, online transactional process, right? Online transactional process. This is we call our traditional databases. Traditional database, relational database management systems are comes under OLTP, right? Here, data warehouse considers the OLAP, online analytical process, right? Online analytical process, right? So this is data warehouse, right? So we will look at what are the functionalities, what are the behaviors of data warehouse, right? So just I am starting the beginning of the data warehouse, right? Just a uh, single drop what we are learning here about data warehouse, right? But if you want to become an expert on this data warehouse, definitely you need to follow a book, right? There are so many different books are there. If you follow one book, you become an expert on this field, right? So that is the art, right? If you are an expert on data warehousing or data warehouse consultant means you are the one design the data warehouse depending on their requirements or depending on the uh, top level. If you are running a business, you have a top level management, right? They have so many functionalities, right? So they are the one taking decisions, right? For their decision making, definitely you need to design some data warehouses, right? Depending on the data warehouse, they will take important decision. If they want to provide the promotions, they will create a data warehouse to whom. Sorry for the interruption. So, internet issue. Am I audible to you?
Yeah, sir.
Hello?
Audible.
Yeah, sir.
Yes.
Audible.
Where I stopped, I don't know where I stopped. Like, you remember? Or just now or earlier?
The objective
Sorry?
OLAP, OLTP, that one.
Okay. Okay. There are two terms, right? Online analytical process, online transactional process, right? So the relational databases, MySQL, MSSQL, they are we are considered as a transactional process, right? We can deal with the crude operations, right? Did you heard about these term crude operations?
Yes.
So create, retrieval, update, delete. So these are the normal operations we are done with the databases, right? Relational database. RDBMS, we consider these operations, right? But not the case in data warehouse. Data warehouse is related to decision-making process, right? So that's why we are considered as a OLAP, online analytical process, right? But the relational database, we are considered as a online transactional process, right? OLTP, right? So these are the two different things. Don't think database and data warehouse are same, right? They are totally different, right? Even their functionality, we will discuss a little later the difference between database and data warehouses, right? So up to now, just realize, right? So you need to create a data warehouse for decision making purposes, right? So if you are introduce a promotion, so if you are planning to give some benefits for your employees or wherever you want, you can create some data warehouse. Right, based on the data warehouse, you can take some decision. How about the branches? What are the products highly demanded? Everything you can look at by using the data warehouse, right? So end of the session, you can understand what is data warehouse, right? You get a clear map about data warehouse, right? Also, we are look at the difference between online transactional process and online analytical process, right? These are the two things. OLTP, online transactional process. OLAP, online analytical process. So online analytical process means data warehouse, data warehouse. Online transaction process mean relational database management system, right? MySQL, MSSQL, no, we are considered as online transaction process. Just to record the things. If you want to retrieve the things, if you want to update the things, if you want to delete the things, we can use online transactional process, RDBMS, right? Not the case in online analytical process, right? Also, we can understand what is data warehouse architecture, right? So if you need to develop a data warehouse, you need to plan something, right? How we are extract the data from different branches, right? There are so many things you need to do if you want to create a data warehouse, right? So we will look at those things one by one, right? Okay, data warehousing means that's an action, right? Data warehousing is the process of creating a data warehouse, right? So data warehousing means you need to develop architecture, right? That architecture useful for business decision making process, right? If you look at the relational database management system, that is deal with database administrator or bottom level people in an organization, right? IT administrator or database administrator, they are the one deal with the data warehouse, but not the case in data warehouse, right? Data warehouse deal with the top level managers. Why I'm telling top level managers are dealing with data warehouse? They are the one taking decisions about the company, right? So the decision makers of an organization, they are the one deal with data warehouse, right? To move their business for certain level or for take some decisions about their business, they need some data warehouses, right? So by using the data warehouse, they are making strategic decisions about their organization, right? Maybe if they want to understand whether their business is going on profit or loss, everything they are considered by using the data warehouse, right? Not only for the entire company, maybe branch level also they can get some decision based on data warehouse, right? Nowadays this is a weapon, right? So if if you look at the companies who are tech giants or who are the one uh, plays a major role in the business industry, so they definitely create some data warehouses, right? So that is a marketing weapon nowadays, right? So if you are an expert on creating data warehouses, you have a huge demand in the future, right? Not only for IT industry, but also business industries also expecting these type of guys, right? To take their business to the next level, definitely they need to know some important decisions, right? So these decision making process is easy once you develop the data warehouses, right? So now we will look at why we need data warehouse, right? So if you read one by one, you can understand, right? So if you develop a data warehouse, right, so you can get an idea who are the customers, right? Give more profit. Who are the customers? Give low profit to the company. So based on that, once you recommend something or once you provide promotions or once you introduce some loyalty facilities, based on that data warehousing character, you can easily give that loyalty facilities, right? So if you have a customers, we cannot expect all the customers giving more profit, right? Some of the customers just purchase very few things, right? Maybe if you look at a supermarket, right? Some customers they continuously purchase everything from the supermarket, but not the case. Some customers just to visit to pay their electricity bills or some certain aspects they are visit the supermarket, right? So if you look at who are the customers, who are the marginal customers giving more profit, or who are the customers who giving the less profit to the organization, so you can understand those things from the data warehouse, right? So maybe you have a question, right? If you have a database, we can find out this one. So what is the uniqueness compared with data warehouse and database? If I tell you, you can easily find out who are the high profitable customers, who are the low profitable customers. We can find out these things by using the database also, right? So maybe no one asked that question, right? So that's why I'm asking the question, right? If you if you raise this type of questions, we can do the same thing by database also. No, so what is the uniqueness of data warehouse? Don't you have that type of questions? My question, did you understand what I'm telling? So one thing, right? I told you why we need data warehouse, right? Data warehouse helpful to understand who are the uh, high and low profitable customers, right? High and low marginal customers. Those we can find out from databases also, right? Then what is the difference between database and data warehouse? Don't you have that type of questions? Tell me. Tell me. Don't you have that type of questions? Okay, if it is a database, right? Just you can find out only the uh, their marginal customers, right? But if it is a data warehouse with that marginal customers, maybe you can find out more information, right? Depending on your data warehouse, right? You can not only you can find out who are the high and low profitable customers, but also you can find out, right? Uh, in which branch high profitable customers are there, in which branch low profitable customers are there, right? In which product they are purchasing more. So if it is a database, right, you are getting only some certain level of information. But if it is a data warehouse, you are getting more and more uh, depth level of information, right? Uh, Maybe you can find out monthly wise, right? So quarterly or every month, twice a month, who are the customers give more profit. Likewise, there are so many different options available if you develop data warehouse rather than the databases, right? Or the next point, right? If you develop a data warehouse for a supermarket, then you can find out. So these examples are based on the supermarket, right? So you can find out who are the customers and what are the products they are buying from the supermarket, right? So there are so many things you can find out, right? What is the most effective distribution channels, right? So maybe if you introduce some promotions, which type of promotions attracted by more number of customers. Likewise, there are so many things, so many decisions you are making with the help of data warehouse, right? That's why they are developing data warehouse for decision making process. That you can read the remaining points, right? Okay, now we will look at the definition of data warehouse, right? So if you are developing a data warehouse, you need to think about there are four important aspects, right? So what are they? The data warehouse object oriented, right? Integrated, time variant, and non-volatile collection of data. It supports for decision making process, right? That is we can call data warehouse. So what are the key aspects you need to think about while you are developing a data warehouse? Data warehouse is subject oriented, right? Integrated. You need to integrate different branch data together, right? Or maybe you need to integrate last 5 year data together, right? Time variant. What do you mean by time variant? If you are develop a data warehouse for last 1 year, that is totally different from the your data warehouse you developed for last 2 years, right? So that is a time variant. Also non-volatile. What do you mean by non-volatile? So what do you mean by volatile memory? You learn those things. Volatile memory.
Delete temporarily
Delete.
only store.
Once REM is a volatile, right? Once you
Yes.
power goes off, everything the work what you are done, it will be deleted, right? That is volatile. Non-volatile in the sense that is we can't delete the memory, right? So if you develop a data warehouse, right, that is a non-volatile, right? So if you create a data warehouse for last 6 months, you cannot delete anything from that, right? You cannot update or you cannot insert something with the data warehouse. If you want to create uh, or if you want to add something more, definitely you need to create some new data warehouse, right? We cannot do update or modification with the data warehouse, right? But not the case in databases, right? If you think about database, we can upgrade or delete, everything will be possible, right? But not the data warehouse. So data warehouse in the sense that is a subject oriented, right? So subject oriented means what? Subject oriented means what?
Based on the specific activities, it will be developed.
Yeah. If you are planning to take a decision about your employees, you can create separate data warehouse for your employees, right? So employees, their experience, there are so many factors you consider and you create a data warehouse, right? If you are planning to take some decision about your raw material suppliers, right? If you are running a restaurant or if you are running a supermarket, definitely you need to purchase some raw materials, right? At that time, right? You need to consider the raw material suppliers and you are generating a separate data warehouse, right? Similarly, now you are planning to develop a data warehouse or you are planning to take some decision about your customers, right? Then that is your data warehouse based on the customers. Customer is a subject, right? So you are developing your data warehouse only for your customers, right? So I'm telling here, data warehouse is not a generic term, right? That is not a general thing. You can develop your data warehouse for different perspectives. Like if you want to do some decisions about a particular audience, then you are developing a data warehouse for that audience, right? So that is we are called as a subject oriented. Integrated means you need to, if you are planning to develop a data warehouse, you cannot consider only one branch. If you have more than one branches, you need to integrate all the branch data together, right? That is integrated. So the definition says data warehouse is a subject oriented, integrated, time variant. It will change time to time, right? So if you are developing a data warehouse for last 3 months, that is varying from the data warehouse you are creating for last 6 months, right? With the time, it will change. It will varying, right? Also, that is non-volatile. If you are create a data warehouse, if you need to implement or if you need to integrate another 2 months, you cannot add with that existing data warehouse. You are starting from that beginning and you need to create a new data warehouse. That is the unique features of data warehouse, right? So data warehouse is not a database, right? So each and every company, so each and every business, they have database, right? From that database, we are extracting some information and we are creating the data warehouse, right? From the relational databases, operational databases, we are extracting some information. Then we include those information into the data warehouse, right? So we will look at one by one. Subject oriented. What do you mean by subject oriented? I already explained, right? So subject oriented means if you have a just imagine the supermarket, right? Cargill supermarket, right? So they have different domains: customers, employees, the stakeholders, right? The raw material suppliers. They are purchasing vegetables from some owners, farm owners. Likewise, there are different subjects, right? So if you want to take a decision for a certain set of people, definitely you need to create a data warehouse for that particular pool of customers or pool of employees, right? So that is a subject oriented. That is the important thing, right? So if you think about an insurance company, right? Just look at the diagram and tell me something. Just imagine, right? You are running a business for insurance company. You are running an insurance company, right? So you have different functionalities, right? Vehicle insurance policies and life insurance, right? Client insurance, right? Billing systems, right? Employees, right? So these are the functionalities, right? So, so the first image, this explain the functionalities of your insurance company, right? If you look at here, this is separated from the functionalities, right? So this is the data warehouse, right? So maybe you are creating a data warehouse for your customers. Maybe you are creating a data warehouse for your policies, your losses, your premium account. Likewise, you can separately create data warehouse. Right? If you are running an insurance company, right? Maybe you are create a data warehouse for your customers, right? Maybe you can separately create a data warehouse for your vehicle insurance customers, right? Maybe you are creating a data warehouse for your employees, right? Maybe you can create a data warehouse for your accounts, or maybe you are creating a data warehouse for your clients. It's up to you. You are the one take the decisions for which set of people you need to develop the data warehouse, right? That is subject oriented. Specific subject, you can create separate data warehouses, right? Even if you are running a business, in that particular business, just think about the university, right? So if you think about the university for taking a decision about their profits and their well-beings, right? So as admin guy, the managerial people, the top level managers, they can take decisions, right? So specifically, they are creating a data warehouse for the student data warehouse, right? Similarly, for academic lecturers, they need to develop a data warehouse separately, right? Then they need to take a data warehouse for administrative people, non-academic. Likewise, we can generate the data warehouse depending on the uh, subject matter for which subject we are planning to do some decisions. Then we need to create a separate data warehouse, right? The next thing, integrated, right? So to develop a data warehouse, we cannot directly extract the data from the relational databases and we can create a data warehouse, right? That's about the supermarket, right? Uh, to develop a data warehouse with customers and for the customers and their what are the products they are purchasing, right? You have a database, right? On that database, we have the information who are the customers and what are the products they are purchasing, right? So you can directly get those tables and include in the data warehouse, right? First thing you need to separately extract the customer information, right? What is the customers? Who are the customers, right? Then separately you need to extract some information. Let's say, the milk powder. So you need to find out what are the different number of milk powders purchased by customers last 3 months, right? So then you need to separately extract from the relational database. Then you can put those things here in the data warehouse, right? So integration means you need to take, let's say you have 4 branches, right? Then you need to integrate the customer details from branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, branch 4. Likewise, you need to integrate from the different branches as well, right? So then you are extracting the customer details from each branch, then you can integrate into one table and you can put into the data warehouse, right? So integration means nothing. You need to take uh, all the related information from different branches and you are merged together and you are creating the data warehouse, right? Okay, the third one is time variant. I already explained, right? So let's say you are planning to develop a data warehouse for last 2 years, right? So with that time duration, you need to extract the information. While you are integrating, you need to only extract the last 2 year data, right? So time variant means time to time your data warehouse is changing, right? The content data warehouse is varying time to time. That is the meaning of time variant, right? Okay, the non-volatile. Okay, non-volatile, right? So non-volatile means that is not updatable or insert something new to the existing data warehouse, right? So data warehouse is physically separated from the relational databases, right? So you cannot add something new to your data warehouse, right? Just imagine you develop the data warehouse for last 3 months, right? Now you need a new data warehouse, including this month, right? So you cannot upgrade the existing data warehouse. You consider all 4 months together, and you need to do the things again, and you need to create a data warehouse, right? So if you think about data warehouse, only 2 types of operations are happen, right? Just you can initial loading of your data warehouse to the data, and just you can access the data, right? So initial loading in the sense, right? If you have a 4 branches, from all 4 branches, you are extracting the customer details, right? Just you can put those details into your data warehouse, right? Similarly, you can extract all the income, all the profits from all 4 branches, and just you can insert into the data warehouse in the initial stage. Once you complete the initial loading process of your data, just you can access the data. If you want something, just you can access that particular data from the data warehouse, but you can't upgrade or you can't delete or you can't change anything once you complete the data warehousing process, right? That is the important, non-volatile. We cannot delete anything once you uh, complete the data warehouse, right? So in data warehouse, there is no transactional process is required, right? Transactional process means the crude operation, right? Retrieve, update, delete. We don't need those operations in data warehouse, right? So if you look at this diagram, right, data warehouse is read only, right? Once you create a data warehouse, just you can extract something. Just you can look at some information. Just the read only things we can done, right? So if you look at the business, right, the supermarket business, they have different databases, right? So this is their database, right? For that database, there are so many operations happen, right? Update, delete, insert. There are so many operations are happen with that relational database, right? So for that relational database, you need to extract something, right? So if you now you are planning to design a data warehouse, so based on that plan, you need to extract some information from the relational database, right? So separately, you need to extract, right? This is the customer details, right? This is their financial information of the customer. So this is their products they are purchasing, right? So likewise, you need to extract some small data marts. We can call this one as a data marts, right? From this data marts, these data marts are generated. We are extracting information from the relational database. By using the relational database, we are extracting the information. Then by using this information, we can create the data warehouse, right? Once you load the data into your data warehouse, you cannot do anything. Just you can access the information, just read the information. How many number of customers from Eastern Province? How many number of customers from Western Province? Likewise, you can take some information, read-only processes from the data warehouse once you complete the data warehousing process, right? Okay, now we will compare the operational databases and the data warehouse, right? So operational database, I need to explain more, right? So you already have some experience, right? Operational databases means the MySQL, MS SQL, right? Relational database management system considered as operational database in a company, right? So they are dealing with transaction, day-to-day transaction, right? So if you are consider a bank, they have databases, right? So all the transactional activities happen day by day. They record in their relational database, right? The operational database. They are record each and every transaction done by the bank within a particular duration, right? Or particular day by day, they will update everything, right? So that is we can call online transactional process, right? So day-to-day operations are recorded in the relational database management system, the online transactional process, right? But if you look at the data warehousing, the role of data warehousing is totally different, right? So up to now, you don't look at any data warehouse, right? Data warehouse is that's the data cube, right? So I will show you maybe next few slides. I will show you about the data warehouse. Right? Then you can, right? Yeah, the role of data warehouse is analyzing the data for decision making process, right? If it is a relational database management system, if you think about the transactional process, just to record the transaction, we are using that one, right? If you think about data warehouse, in the data warehouse, we are extracting some information from online transactional process databases. Then we merge those data and we are creating a data warehouse. The purpose of that one, analyzing the data, right? How many customers purchase that milk powder X? How many customers purchase the milk powder Y? Likewise, we are analyzing the data. That is the functionality of data warehouse. To take decision, we need to analyze, right? So we need to generate the data warehouse, right? So we can call online analytical process, OLAP, right? So normally we are using data warehouse to maintain historical data, right? Last 1 year, what will happen? Which product highly demanded, right? So, but we can't do all the things from the relational database, right? So just imagine last 6 months, a particular product X huge demand, right? So then what you need to do? Maybe you can find out the reason why last 6 months this product X have more demand. You can do some research and analytical things. Based on that, you can invest the money for the next year or next 3 months, right? We don't guarantee, right? Last 6 months, the product highly demanded, but we don't guarantee the next 3 months that product have huge demand. So just definitely, if you're running a business, you need a research and development team, right? R&D, right? R&D team. Most of the tech giants, they have R&D, right? So they are the one analyze the results and they will do some suggestions and feedback. Based on that, the company react, right? So then they become a successful, right? So these are some of the differences between online transactional process and online analytical process. What is the first one? If you think about online transactional process, our traditional databases, they are dealing with day-to-day transaction, right? Day-to-day, what will happen? Everything they will record. That is the transactional process. If you look at the data warehouse, online analytical process, they are dealing with the historical data, right? They are not dealing with the day-to-day transaction. Data warehouse is dealing with the historical data, last 3 months, last 6 months, last 1 year, last 10 years, last 5 years. Likewise, you are dealing with historical data in data warehouse. But if you think about the transactional process, that is dealing with day-to-day transaction, right? The relational database, they will record every transaction happen within the business hours in a company, right? The next second point, the people who are dealing with data warehouses, the knowledge workers. Knowledge workers in the sense they are the top level managers, top level management of an organization. They are the one deal with the data warehouse, right? The knowledge workers are the executives, the managers, and CEO, CIO. They are the one deal with the data warehouse. If you think about the relational databases, that is deal with the clerks, right? Maybe database administrators. The bottom level people, they are the one dealing with the databases, relational data, right? So the data warehouse is used for analyze the business, right? Whether your business is profit or loss. Every analytical things done by the data warehouse. But if you think about the relational databases, transactional process that is used to run the business. To run a business, you need to record each and every transaction. For that purposes, we are using online transactional process. But if you look at the data warehouse, we are using data warehouse used for taking important decisions about your organization, right? So if you look at the database, relational database, just store the data, right? So if you look at the supermarket, just create, just record everything. So it means they are creating data. Data becomes the input, right? If you look at the data warehouse, you are getting the data from the database, then you are analyzing, you are taking some decisions, right? So on that scenario, the information is out. More information is out from the data in data warehouse, right? Data warehouse, we are using different schemas, star schemas, no flash schema, fast synthesis schemas, right? So these are some techniques we are using to create data warehouse. But while we are designing related databases, we use only ER modeling, entity relationship modeling, right? So data warehouse contains historical data. It contains the current data, right? So this is provides summarized and consolidated data. It provides detailed data about the transactions, right? How about the number of users, right? If you think about relational databases, every day there are thousands of records are recording, right? So the number of users is in thousand, right? Thousand users can deal with at a time or at a day, right? But not the case here. Only hundreds of users, right? That's the comparison, right? More users are involving in relational databases, but not the case in uh, data warehouse, right? So if you think about the data warehouse, maybe you can access 10 to 100 records at a time. But if you think about the data warehouse, it is an integration of all the relational database uh, tables together. No? So it deal with millions of records per second or per hour, likewise, right? The accessing records are huge in data warehouse compared with databases, right? The size of the database in data warehouse 100 GBs to 100 terabytes, but here 100 MBs to 100 GB in relational database, right? The data warehouse is highly flexible. Flexible in the sense if you want to create multi-dimension, then you can easily upgrade the dimension, right? But if you look at the online transactional process, they are highly performance, right? High performance in the sense you can add transaction concurrently, right? So if you have a database, relational database, the functionality of the database is upgrade and record each and everything. So definitely that must be highly perform, right? If the relational database perform well, then only we can record all the transaction without missing any transaction, right? But not the case in data warehouse. The purpose of that data warehouse is totally different from the purpose of the relational database, right? Based on that, you can answer the characteristics of each and every, right? So if you understand what is the purpose of data warehouse, then you can differentiate the data warehouse from data relational databases easily, right? So these are some of the differences, right? This is the architecture of data warehouse, right? So if, first of all, you have operational databases. Just look at here, your maybe MySQL or MS SQL databases, right? These are the databases. From initially, right, you have a plan for which subject you are creating the data warehouse. That is the first thing. Initialize, you need what is your plan for which customers or for which purposes we are creating these data warehouse. What is the objective of that data warehouse? Based on that, you can find out the suitable operational database. From that operational databases, just you are extract something, right? So before extracting, right? So okay, in the initial stage, right? These are the different places you are getting the data, right? Maybe some companies they are dealing with operational databases. Some companies they are using file systems, right? So whatever if you are using to store the data, from that data, right? You need to extract. First of all, you need to extract. Let's say in a supermarket, you are planning to develop a data warehouse for employees, right? So from this operational database, you need to extract all the employee details, right? Then after you extract the employee details, then you need to clean. The pre-processing part is done, right? Some of the employee details are not filling. So then you need to find out their information, right? Fill the missing rows. Likewise, pre-processing, you need to clean the data. Once you clean, then you transform the data, right? So the transformation in the sense sometimes different branches using different uh, units to maintain their salaries, or sometimes they are using different uh, units, right? So then you need to transform all the units into a same, right? Then only you need to load the data into the data warehouse, right? So this is the data warehouse, just nothing, right? If you are running a business, each branch have some databases. From that database, you need to extract a certain amount of information what you need for creating the data warehouse. Once you extract information, you need to clean. You need to check that we already discussed those things in the data pre-processing, right? So if you are integrating the data, then you need to check is there any mismatching. So is there same variable, but they are using different things, right? Maybe employee, permanent and temporary. So some company uses PNP. Some company they are using permanent and temporary differently, right? So you need to check those conflicts, right? Consistency. If there are any inconsistency, you need to sort out those inconsistency. So that is easily we can say that is a pre-process, right? So once you pre-process, then you transform, right? Then after you did all these things, then you need to load the data into your data warehouse, right? So from data warehouse means this one, right? So this is a data cube, right? So data warehouse means you are creating a data cube, right? So we are not this. Yeah, I don't explain here, right? So this is we can call data cube, right? Each dimension. This is a 3D. First dimension, second dimension, and this is a third dimension, right? So first dimension you have put the product details, right? Second dimension is a year, quarterly, right? First quarter, second quarter, third, fourth quarter. Third dimension, maybe you think about the branches, right? Branch one, branch two, branch three. Likewise, this is branch one, branch two, branch three, branch four. So based on the data warehouse, you are creating some data cubes, right? So by using that cube, you are taking some important decisions. I did just a give brief introduction about data warehouse, right? This is not a data warehouse subject, right? So maybe in the upcoming curriculum, updated curriculum, right? Not for you, maybe your super junior badges, maybe they are getting a different subject, data warehouse separately, data mining separately. Then they are learn more depth level about data warehouse, right? Even for one semester, I can teach you about data warehouse, the depth level, right? So maybe we have some tools to create data warehouse, right? Likewise, we can learn, right? But here, just I give a brief introduction.